She seemed ordinary, until she revealed her mother was the Queen. Ava sat in the corner of the quiet library, her fingers brushing over the pages of an old, leather-bound book. The faint smell of dust and paper filled the air, comforting her as she settled into her usual afternoon routine. It was just another normal day in a quiet town that nobody cared to remember the name of. To the outside world, Ava was just an ordinary young woman, nothing more than a librarian who enjoyed the peace of a small town. She wasn't special. She didn't crave attention or fame. She had no desire for adventure, or so she thought. Ava glanced up, her eyes briefly meeting the world outside the tall, narrow windows of the library. It was a serene view, with trees swaying gently in the breeze and a soft golden light spilling across the streets. It was the perfect place to hide away from everything. The world outside, with its noise and chaos, felt so far away from the life she had built for herself. She preferred it that way. But even in a place like this, she couldn't ignore the strange feeling that something wasn't quite right about her. It had started only recently, the odd sensations that seemed to creep up on her when she least expected them. Like the way she could hear whispers in the wind that no one else seemed to notice, or how her reflexes had become unusually sharp. At first, she thought it was just stress, the usual strain of a busy life catching up with her. But the feeling wouldn't go away. It was there when she picked up a heavy stack of books from the shelf, and somehow they didn't feel as heavy as they should have. It was there when she had to leap out of the way to avoid a runaway cart, her body reacting faster than her mind could process. And it was there when she could see the faintest shimmer of a figure standing at the far end of the library, a woman in a dark cloak, watching her. Ava blinked, and when she opened her eyes, the woman was gone. She rubbed her temples, shaking her head. Maybe she was losing it, maybe she'd just imagined it. She was overworked after all. But then, the next day, it happened again. This time, it wasn't a passing feeling. She was shelving a book when she felt a presence standing behind her. Ava turned, her breath catching in her throat. A woman stood at the doorway of the library, her dark eyes fixed on Ava, a look of recognition in them. Ava froze. "Can I help you?" Ava asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The woman's expression remained unreadable. She didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. It was unsettling. There was something about her that made Ava feel small, like she didn't belong in the same space as this stranger. "I've been looking for you," the woman finally said, her voice smooth like silk. Her accent was foreign, rich, and strange. Ava's heart raced. She didn't know this woman, yet somehow she felt as if she should. Something about her eyes, something about the way she carried herself, told Ava that this wasn't a coincidence. "What do you want?" Ava asked, her voice trembling despite her attempt to sound confident. The woman tilted her head slightly, her eyes narrowing just a fraction. "I know who you are," she said softly, almost as if it were a secret, "and I know what you're capable of." Ava took a step back, suddenly feeling exposed. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I'm just a librarian." The woman stepped into the library, her gaze never leaving Ava. "You are not just a librarian, Ava, you are something much more." Ava swallowed hard, her throat dry. "I think you have the wrong person. My name is Ava, and I don't." "You are the daughter of a queen," the woman interrupted, her voice cutting through Ava's confusion. Ava blinked, her mind racing. Daughter of a queen? What was she talking about? She didn't even know who this woman was. She was just an ordinary woman, living an ordinary life, hiding from the world. But the woman continued as if she hadn't spoken at all. "Your mother was once a ruler, a queen of a powerful empire that spanned galaxies. And you, Ava, you are the heir. You are her daughter, and you carry her legacy within you." Ava shook her head. This couldn't be real. It had to be some kind of joke, a prank. "No, this is ridiculous. I don't have a queen mother. I don't even know what you're talking about." The woman's eyes softened, as if she understood Ava's disbelief. "I know this is difficult to believe. It's difficult for all of us. But your mother is out there, and so are the people who are searching for you. They know you're alive, and they are coming for you." Ava's stomach twisted. "I don't want anything to do with this. I'm just a librarian. I'm not some princess or heir or whatever you're saying." The woman took a step closer, her expression unwavering. "You may think you're just a librarian, Ava, but you have abilities. Abilities that are far beyond anything you've known, and they are awakening. You are not ordinary, you never were." Ava didn't know what to say. Her mind was spinning, trying to make sense of what the woman had just said. She felt like the world was shifting beneath her feet, and she was struggling to keep her balance. Her mother was some kind of queen, and she was the heir to a galaxy-spanning empire. This was crazy. "Who are you?" Ava whispered, her voice shaking. "My name is Alara," the woman replied. "I'm here to help you. You're not alone in this, but you must come with me. They will come for you soon, and we don't have much time." Ava looked at the woman, her heart pounding in her chest. She wanted to say no. She wanted to run far, far away from this strange situation, back to her peaceful life. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was at play, something that had been inside her all along, waiting for the moment it could no longer be ignored. I don't understand," Ava said, her voice barely a whisper. "You will," Alara said with a faint smile. "You will soon enough, but for now you must trust me. Your journey is just beginning." Ava's mind was racing. There was no turning back now, no denying that her life had just been completely turned upside down. She wasn't just a librarian. She wasn't just an ordinary woman. She was the daughter of a queen, and the future of an entire empire might rest in her hands. Ava sat silently in the small, dimly lit room at the back of the library. She couldn't quite grasp what had just happened. Alara, the mysterious woman, had left her with more questions than answers. The words echoed in her mind. "You are the daughter of a queen." Her hands trembled slightly as she held a cup of tea, the steam rising gently, but she couldn't bring herself to take a sip. She stared out the window at the quiet town. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow over the streets. Everything looked the same as it had every day of her life, yet everything felt different now. Her life, as she knew it, seemed like it had been nothing more than an illusion, a calm before the storm. The peace she had grown accustomed to was nothing more than a veil hiding the truth. Ava let out a deep breath, her thoughts racing. It had been a few hours since Alara left, and still, her words lingered in the air. She couldn't understand how any of it was possible. How could she be the daughter of a queen when she had never known her parents to be anything other than normal people? Her mother, who had she been? What had she been hiding? And if this was true, why hadn't anyone told her? Why hadn't she been told? Just then, a soft knock came at the door. "Ava," came Lucas's voice, gentle but curious. He was her closest friend, the one person she trusted above all others. He had known her since they were kids, had been there through every challenge, every awkward phase. He knew all of her secrets, except the biggest one, the one that had just been thrust into her life without warning. Ava wiped her hands on her pants, then stood up and opened the door. "Hey," she said, trying to sound normal, though she knew it was impossible. She wasn't sure what normal even was anymore. Lucas walked in, his eyes scanning her face as if searching for something he couldn't quite name. He had always been able to read her, sometimes even before she knew what she was feeling herself. "How are you doing?" he asked, his voice low with concern. "I'm okay," Ava replied. "I just need to think." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "You've been thinking for hours, Ava. I haven't seen you this quiet since, well, since that time in high school when you were hiding something." Ava forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "It's not like that," she said, glancing away. She hated lying to him. But how could she explain everything Alara had told her? How could she put into words the chaos that had just begun to unfold? "You don't look okay," Lucas pressed gently, his voice full of worry. "You've been different lately, and now you're locked in here by yourself? What's going on?" Ava hesitated, biting her lip. She wanted to tell him everything, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she handed him the cup of tea that she had been holding and motioned for him to sit down. "There's something I need to tell you," she said finally, her voice soft but steady. Lucas sat down across from her, his eyes wide, waiting for her to continue. Ava took a deep breath, gathering the courage she needed. "The woman I was talking to earlier," she began. "Her name is Alara, and she's not from around here. She says that my mother was a queen, that I'm the daughter of a royal family." Lucas blinked, his expression unreadable. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out at first. His eyes searched hers for any hint of sarcasm, any sign that she was joking. When none came, his face softened with disbelief. "You're saying you're royalty?" he asked slowly. "Like queen royalty, and your mother was what, an alien or something?" Ava nodded, her throat tight. "I don't know how to explain it. I don't even understand it myself. But Alara says my mother is the queen of an empire, a powerful empire, and that I'm supposed to be the heir. She says my powers are awakening, that there's more to me than I've ever known." Lucas stared at her, his eyes filled with a mix of confusion and concern. "Ava, I don't know what to say. This sounds insane. I mean, I don't even know what this is." Ava's heart pounded in her chest. She had expected him to react this way, but it didn't make it easier. "I know it sounds crazy," she whispered. "I don't know what to believe anymore. Ilara says they're looking for me and that I'm in danger, that there are people who want to use me for what I am and people who want to destroy me because of it." "Who?" Lucas asked, leaning forward. "Who's after you?" "I don't know," Ava admitted. "I don't know who to trust. Ilara says she's here to protect me, but I'm not sure I can trust her either. Everything is happening so fast. One minute I'm just a librarian, and the next I'm being told I have the blood of a queen running through my veins." Lucas sat back in his chair, his hands folded tightly in his lap. "What do you want to do, Ava? I mean, how do you even begin to deal with something like this?" Ava looked out the window, her mind racing. She had no answers, no clear path. She didn't know how to step into this new reality, didn't know what to do with the strange powers that had started awakening inside her. She had been nothing more than a simple librarian, a person who liked books and quiet afternoons. Now it seemed like her life had been a lie. "I don't know," she whispered, more to herself than to Lucas. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But I feel like I can't ignore this anymore, like I have to do something even if I don't understand any of it." Lucas's voice was gentle. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you, Ava, but you have to be careful. This is a lot, and you don't have to face it alone." Ava looked at him, her heart filled with gratitude. "I know," she said softly. "I'm lucky to have you." There was a long silence between them, broken only by the soft rustle of the wind outside. Ava didn't know what her future held, but she felt a growing sense of responsibility deep inside her. She had been told she was the heir to an empire, a queen in the making. She didn't know how to accept it or what that would mean for her, but she couldn't ignore the pull of her heritage. That night, as Ava lay in bed, she stared up at the ceiling, lost in thought. Her mother's face appeared in her mind, a face she had never truly known but now felt connected to in some way. She wondered if her mother had ever felt this lost, this out of control, when she first realized what she was. Ava had always believed she was just a normal person, and now, everything she thought she knew about herself seemed to be unraveling. She closed her eyes, trying to calm the storm inside her. She was far from ready to embrace her new reality, but she knew deep down that her journey was only just beginning. And if she was going to face whatever was coming next, she had to find the strength to accept who she truly was, even if she had no idea what that meant. The following days passed in a blur, as Ava tried to process everything she had learned. Every time she closed her eyes, the words echoed in her mind. "You are the daughter of a queen." It felt impossible, but Ilara's words had not been a dream. Ava couldn't escape the reality that she had somehow become entangled in a destiny she never asked for, one that she wasn't sure she was ready for. She spent most of her time in the library, trying to keep busy, but it was hard to focus. Her thoughts kept drifting back to her conversation with Ilara. Why had her mother disappeared? Why hadn't anyone told her the truth? Ava had so many questions, but the answers were elusive. It was as if everything she had believed about herself had been nothing more than a cover for something much bigger. It was too much to take in all at once, and yet she couldn't ignore the growing sense that her life was about to change in ways she couldn't even imagine. One afternoon, while she was shelving a stack of books, she heard the soft sound of footsteps approaching behind her. Ava froze, her heart skipping a beat. She turned slowly, half expecting to see Ilara standing there, but instead it was Lucas. "You're quiet today," he said, his voice light, but there was an undertone of concern in his words. "How are you feeling?" Ava looked at him for a moment, unsure of how to respond. She didn't want to burden him with her confusion, but she also couldn't hide it any longer. "I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Everything feels so strange. I don't know who I am anymore." Lucas frowned, stepping closer. "Ava, you don't have to figure it all out right away. You've been through a lot in a short amount of time. It's okay to take things one step at a time." She appreciated his words, but deep down, Ava knew that time wasn't something she had. Ilara had made it clear that there were people looking for her, people who wanted to use her, or worse. She couldn't afford to take her time. "I can't just sit here and pretend everything's normal," Ava said, her voice steadying as she spoke. "There are people after me, Lucas. Ilara says I have powers, that I'm part of something bigger. I can't ignore it anymore." Lucas watched her for a moment, his expression softening. "What do you want to do?" he asked quietly. Ava took a deep breath. She hadn't fully figured it out herself, but something inside her told her that she had to start moving forward. "I need to find my mother," she said. "I need to know what happened to her, and I need to understand what's happening to me." Lucas nodded. "I'll help you, whatever it takes." Ava felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She had always known that Lucas was someone she could count on, but hearing him say that made her feel a little less alone. He had been her best friend for years, but now it felt like their bond was becoming something even stronger. He was here with her, ready to face whatever was coming next. "I don't even know where to start," Ava confessed. "Alara said I have to go with her, that there's a whole empire out there waiting for me, but I can't just leave everything behind without knowing what's really going on." Lucas thought for a moment. "What about Alara? Can't she help you figure things out?" Ava nodded. "She can, but I don't fully trust her yet. She says she's here to protect me, but I don't know if I believe her. I don't even know what I'm supposed to believe anymore." A heavy silence hung between them. Ava could feel the weight of her uncertainty pressing down on her. She had no idea where to turn next, but she knew she couldn't stay in the dark forever. The thought of stepping into the unknown terrified her, but there was no way around it. "I think I need to see Alara again," Ava said finally. "I need to ask her more questions, make sure she's telling me the truth, but I can't do it alone." "I'll go with you," Lucas said without hesitation. "You're not alone in this, Ava." Ava's heart swelled with warmth. "Thank you, Lucas," she whispered. "I don't know what I'd do without you." The next morning, Ava and Lucas met at the library once again. The sun had barely risen, casting a soft, golden light over the rows of bookshelves. Ava felt the familiar comfort of the library around her, but today it felt different. Today, she was about to step into a world she didn't understand, a world that felt as foreign as the stars above. They made their way to the outskirts of the town, to a small house on the edge of a forest where Alara had been staying. Ava's heart raced as they approached the door. What if she was wrong about Alara? What if this whole thing was just some elaborate lie? Could she trust her? Before Ava could overthink it, Lucas knocked on the door. The door creaked open, and there stood Alara, her dark eyes studying them both. There was a knowing look in her gaze, as though she had been expecting them. "I knew you would come," Alara said softly. "I've been waiting for you, Ava." Ava stepped forward, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. "I need answers, Alara," she said firmly. "I need to know what's really going on. Who are you and why are you here? What happened to my mother?" Alara's expression softened, and she stepped aside, allowing them both to enter. The room inside was modest, yet there was an air of elegance to it. A large map of distant star systems was pinned to the wall, and books and ancient artifacts filled the shelves. "Alara, please," Ava pressed, her voice trembling slightly. "What is this empire you're talking about? Why is this happening to me?" Alara sighed deeply, her gaze distant for a moment as if gathering her thoughts. "Your mother's empire was once vast, Ava. She ruled over a federation of planets, bringing peace and prosperity. But not everyone agreed with her methods, and a coup took place, forcing her into hiding. Your mother protected you by sending you here to Earth, far from the dangers that lurked in the empire." Ava's mind was spinning. "So, my mother is alive?" Alara nodded. "She is, though she's been in hiding for years. The enemies who tried to overthrow her still hunt her, and they will come for you too. You are her daughter, Ava, the rightful heir to the throne." Ava swallowed hard, trying to process the weight of the words. "What am I supposed to do? How do I find her?" Alara stepped closer, her voice gentle but urgent. "You have powers, Ava, powers that come from your royal bloodline. But they are dormant, waiting for you to awaken them. You must embrace who you are if you want to survive." Ava looked at Lucas, her eyes filled with uncertainty. She had no idea what was coming, but the answers were slowly starting to fall into place. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," Ava whispered. "I don't even know where to begin." Alara smiled softly. "That's why I'm here, Ava, to help you find your way, but we don't have much time. They are coming for you, and when they do, you will need to be ready." Ava nodded slowly, feeling a surge of determination rise within her. She didn't know what the future held, but she was no longer willing to hide from it. She was ready to face whatever came next, even if she didn't know how to fight for it yet. The days that followed felt like a whirlwind to Ava. The once quiet life she had known was now filled with questions, fear, and a sense of purpose she hadn't asked for. Alara's words kept echoing in her mind. "You have powers. You are the heir to an empire," but Ava wasn't sure she was ready for any of it. She still felt like the same person she had always been, someone who loved books, quiet days, and simple routines. But now she was being told that she had to become something more, something powerful, someone who could lead an empire she had never even known. She spent a lot of time with Alara, training in secret places, away from the eyes of the town. Alara taught her to focus, to tap into the strange abilities that seemed to come alive inside her when she concentrated. At first, it felt like nothing. She couldn't do anything special. But as time passed, little things started to change. Her senses grew sharper. She could hear sounds from far away, see tiny details in the distance. Sometimes, objects in the room seemed to move without her touching them. The first time she made something float in midair, she had been terrified, but Alara assured her that this was just the beginning. But it wasn't just the training that worried Ava. It was the looming threat. Alara had warned her that there were enemies out there, people who would stop at nothing to capture her, to use her for their own gain. The idea of someone wanting to hurt her because of her bloodline was terrifying, and the thought of being the target of such danger made her stomach turn. One evening, as Ava was sitting in the small, quiet room Alara had set up for their lessons, she felt a sudden chill. The door creaked open and Alara entered with a serious look on her face. "We need to leave," Alara said quickly. "They've found us, it's time to go." Ava's heart raced. Who has found us?" Alara's expression tightened. "The enemy, they've been tracking us." "We don't have much time before they arrive." Ava stood up, her mind spinning. "I thought we were safe here, I thought I could take my time." "You're not safe anywhere anymore, Ava," Alara said, her voice low. "They'll follow you wherever you go. The only way to survive is to keep moving, to keep them guessing." Ava felt a rush of panic. She had known this moment would come, but she wasn't ready. She hadn't even had the chance to learn everything about her powers, let alone what it meant to be an heir to a throne. But there was no time to waste. "Where do we go?" Ava asked, her voice shaking. "We need to reach the old temple," Alara said, her eyes dark with urgency. "It's hidden in the mountains, there you'll be safe, but we have to move now." Ava nodded, swallowing hard. "Okay. Let's go." The journey was long and difficult. Alara led the way, moving quickly through the dense forest, taking shortcuts that Ava would have never thought to take. Ava tried to keep up, but her mind was racing. She had so many questions, so much uncertainty. Every time she felt a surge of power, it was like she was losing control of herself. She wasn't sure if the powers Alara had told her about were even a gift or something that could ruin everything. As the night fell, Ava and Alara found shelter in a cave, hiding away from the dangers that might be lurking in the shadows. Ava sat quietly, staring into the flickering fire Alara had started. The warmth of the flames did little to ease the coldness she felt deep inside. Everything was changing too fast. "Are you all right?" Alara asked, noticing Ava's quiet demeanor. Ava looked up, meeting her gaze. "I don't know, I feel like I'm losing myself in all of this. Everything I've ever known is slipping away." Alara sat down beside her, her expression softening. "You're not losing yourself, Ava. You're finding who you really are. It's just hard right now, but you're not alone in this. I'll help you every step of the way." Ava nodded, though the words didn't ease her worries. She was scared, more scared than she had ever been in her life. She had always lived in the quiet corners of the world, far from danger, far from conflict. But now, it seemed like danger was following her wherever she went. Alara's voice broke through her thoughts. "Your mother, she was a great queen, Ava, a wise ruler. But she wasn't just a leader, she was a protector. She didn't just rule the empire, she fought to keep it safe from those who wanted to tear it apart. You have that same strength inside you." Ava looked at her. "But I don't know how to fight, I don't even know how to use these powers." "You don't have to fight like she did," Alara said gently. "You have your own way of leading. You'll find it, Ava. You have the heart of a ruler even if you don't see it yet." Ava was silent for a moment, letting Alara's words settle in. She had always thought of herself as someone who wasn't made for this kind of life, but deep down she felt a flicker of something inside her. Maybe Alara was right. Maybe she could learn to lead. Maybe she could learn to be the person she was meant to be. "I'll try," Ava said softly, "but I need to know more about my mother. I need to understand who she was and why I'm so important." Alara nodded. "I'll tell you everything I know, but first we need to get to the temple. It's the only place where you'll be safe for now. Once we're there, I'll begin your training in earnest. You'll learn to control your powers, Ava, and you'll learn what it means to be the heir." Ava felt a sense of determination rise within her. She didn't know if she was ready to be a queen, but she had to try, for her mother, for the empire, for herself. The next day, they continued their journey, moving through the mountains and along hidden paths that Alara seemed to know like the back of her hand. Ava's legs were sore and her mind kept racing with doubts, but she pushed them aside. She couldn't afford to stop now. By the time they reached the temple, Ava was exhausted, her body aching from the long trek. The temple was carved into the side of a mountain, hidden from view by the dense trees surrounding it. It was ancient, worn by time, but there was a quiet power about it, as though it had stood for centuries, waiting for the right person to come. Ilara led Ava inside, and the air grew cooler. The walls were lined with carvings and symbols Ava didn't understand. At the center of the temple was a large stone altar, and beneath it, a faint glow seemed to pulse from the floor. "This is where your training will begin," Ilara said, her voice filled with reverence. "Your mother once came here just as you will. This place holds the key to unlocking your powers." Ava stepped closer to the altar, feeling a strange connection to the space. It was as if the temple itself was calling to her, urging her to embrace what she was. She could feel the energy inside her, stirring, waiting to be unleashed. Ilara placed her hand on Ava's shoulder. "When you're ready, we'll begin, but for now, rest. You'll need all your strength for what's to come." Ava nodded, but inside her heart was racing. She wasn't sure she was ready for this, but she knew there was no turning back now. Her destiny awaited her, and the only way forward was to face it head-on. The next few days in the temple were filled with intense training. Ava could feel the weight of her new life pressing down on her, and each time she tried to focus on her powers, it felt as though they were just out of reach. Ilara was patient, teaching her how to control her energy, how to tap into her royal bloodline. But Ava often felt like she wasn't making any progress. The mornings were the hardest. Ava would wake up early, her mind already racing with worry. She still had so many unanswered questions, and every time she tried to meditate or practice, she felt like she was failing. It was frustrating. She wanted to understand everything, to grasp the full extent of her abilities, but it felt as though every step forward was followed by 2 steps back. Ilara, however, remained calm. Her steady presence was a comfort to Ava, even if it didn't always ease her doubts. "You're learning," Ilara would say, her voice soft but firm. "It's just going to take time. Trust yourself." But trust was the hardest part for Ava. She didn't know how to trust the power inside her, and she wasn't sure if she even wanted to. She hadn't asked for any of this. She hadn't asked to be the heir to an empire or to carry the weight of her mother's legacy. All she wanted was a normal life, the one she had worked so hard to build. But that life had been ripped away from her, piece by piece, and now she had to accept that this was who she was. This was her destiny. The days turned into weeks, and slowly Ava began to feel a shift. It was subtle at first, an energy that she could sense just beneath the surface, a warmth in her chest that seemed to grow stronger every time she concentrated. One afternoon, as she sat in the temple courtyard, Ilara approached her, her footsteps soft on the stone floor. "You're making progress," Ilara said, her eyes scanning Ava's face. "You've been able to tap into your powers without realizing it. It's time to learn how to control them." Ava looked up, surprised. "I have, but I don't feel any different." Ilara smiled gently. "You don't always have to feel it. The energy is already inside you. It just takes focus. You have the ability to control it now, to use it the way your mother once did. But it's not just about power. It's about balance, about understanding your connection to the empire, to the people you'll one day rule." Ava felt a knot form in her stomach. She didn't know how to lead an empire. She didn't even know where to begin. "I'm not ready for this, Ilara." "I don't know if I ever will be." Ilara placed a hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to be ready. You will be when the time comes. But first, you need to learn to trust yourself. You need to understand that you were born for this. You are the queen's daughter, Ava. That is who you are, and that is the key to everything." Ava took a deep breath, trying to calm the whirlwind of emotions inside her. It was overwhelming, all of it. The expectations, the fear, the unknown. "I don't know how to rule," Ava said quietly. "I don't know how to be a queen." "You don't have to be a perfect ruler," Ilara said softly. "You just have to be yourself. Your mother was a ruler who cared deeply for her people, who fought for peace. You have that same strength inside you. It's just a matter of finding it." Ava closed her eyes, trying to push back the doubt that still lingered. She didn't feel strong. She didn't feel ready. But Ilara was right about one thing. She had no choice but to move forward. Whether she was ready or not, her destiny was calling. The next day, Alara took Ava to a secluded part of the temple, a place surrounded by trees and a small stream. The air was cool, and the sound of running water seemed to calm Ava's racing thoughts. "Today, we'll practice control," Alara said. "You need to focus on the energy inside you. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel the power in your chest. It's there. You felt it before. Now you're going to channel it." Ava nodded, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath just as Alara had instructed. She tried to focus, trying to feel that warmth, that energy that Alara had mentioned. It was faint at first, just a flicker in the back of her mind, but as she focused, it began to grow. It wasn't like a rush of power like she had expected. It was more like a steady current, calm and constant, waiting for her to guide it. Ava felt a spark of hope inside her. She wasn't sure if it was the right thing to do, but she reached out with her mind, trying to direct the energy. The stone in front of her began to glow faintly, and Ava's heart skipped a beat. She could feel it. She was doing it. "Alara," she whispered, her voice full of wonder. "I can feel it. I can do it." Alara smiled, her eyes proud. "You're beginning to understand. It's not about forcing it, Ava. It's about being in tune with it. The power is a part of you. You just have to learn to work with it." Ava opened her eyes, looking at the stone in front of her. It was glowing brighter now, and she felt a rush of excitement. She had done it. She had actually controlled the energy inside her. For the first time, she felt a sense of accomplishment, a sense that maybe, just maybe, she could do this. "Good," Alara said, her voice calm. "Now let's move on. You need to learn how to defend yourself, to protect the people you care about. The enemy won't wait. You need to be ready." Ava nodded, her resolve strengthening. She wasn't ready to be a queen, not yet, but she was starting to understand that she didn't have to be perfect. She just had to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Later that evening, as Ava sat outside the temple, looking out over the vast landscape, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. For the first time since everything had started, she felt like she might actually be able to do this. She wasn't the same person she had been when she first arrived at the temple. She wasn't just the librarian from a quiet town anymore. She was someone new, someone with a purpose. She could feel her mother's presence inside her, a strength that ran through her veins. Her mother had been a ruler, a protector, and now it was Ava's turn to carry that legacy. Alara had been right. She didn't have to be perfect. She just had to trust herself. She had to step into the role she was meant to play, no matter how hard it seemed. And for the first time, Ava felt ready to face whatever was coming next. The road ahead was still uncertain. There would be challenges, more dangers, and even more questions. But Ava knew one thing for sure: she wasn't alone in this. She had Alara by her side, and she had herself, and that was enough to begin. As the sun set behind the mountains, Ava stood up, her heart steady. The future was waiting for her, and she was ready to meet it head-on. No matter what it took, she would become the queen her people needed. She would embrace her destiny, and nothing would stop her from protecting the empire she was born to lead.